Hi everybody, I'm Colleen, and today I'm kind of sharing my lesson plan and my execution of a lesson based on types of sentences. Now, a lot of times I find out that my students struggle with pronouncing the punctuation in types of sentences, and therefore I find myself having to go back and actually teach the identification of these types of sentences. So today we're going to kind of go back to basics, and then we're going to work on pronunciation towards the end. So technology is a great tool to teach pronunciation, and today we're going to see how we can use them so easily with the class, with the students, and even include them in our homework assignments. So welcome to Types of Sentences. Yep, I love owls. And we're going to start off with a basic sentence. I am a teacher. Great. So I'm a teacher. Does that tell you something? Does that ask you something? Does that tell you I'm excited about it being a teacher? Well, using a period at the end of a sentence tells you that I am declaring something. I am informing you. However, if I change this and I put a punctuation, an exclamatory point at the end, then I'm going to say, I'm a teacher. Yeah, I'm excited. However, if I change that to a question mark, I'm a teacher? Like I didn't know that. So think about just by changing that punctuation mark at the end of the sentence, how the type of sentence changes. Now, today we're going to be learning about 3 different types of sentences, and those 3 are declarative, exclamatory, and interrogative. So declarative is a sentence that makes a statement. So let's make a statement. I go to school. Great. You're informing something, you're making a statement, you're telling somebody something about you. An exclamatory would be, I love ice cream. And by adding this simple exclamation point at the end of the sentence, I'm telling you that I really feel strongly about this. I love ice cream. And then interrogative obviously has to do with asking a question. So let's think about, do you like to read? So that question mark at the end of the sentence wants to know, is being interrogative. I'm asking you something. I want to know something. So there's an example. I go to school, declarative. I love ice cream, exclamatory. And do you like to read? Which is interrogative. So let's visit our lesson plan. So this is a types of sentence lesson plan designed for grades 2 or 3 of elementary. The content area is primarily writing, but it also bears upon pronunciation. Approximate time is about 85 minutes. And the achievement indicator is students will be able to differentiate between 4 different types of sentences. Students will be able to write and therefore then, afterwards, pronounce the 4 different types of sentences properly. Now, materials in preparation, well, we need a board or markers. I've used an online application for that. A laptop or tablet. The write a sentence worksheet. The sentence types quiz on Kahoot. An online Padlet board. And flashcards, which we are going to use via Go Conquer. Okay, so I've already gone through my introduction with you, and I've given you the examples, and I've also done a very brief explanation, a very short modeling type of activity where my students can see the different types of sentences. Now remember that we are revisiting. I'm not teaching, I'm revisiting this content. All right, so then we're going to move on to our guided practice. So our guided practice, I'm going to pair off my students into groups of 2 or ask them to find a partner. You know, it's always voluntary, gets a lot more excitement behind it. So our students are going to write 4 types of sentences, each one using the online tool Padlet. So if in that moment your students have not used this tool, there's a video tutorial, which is very interesting, and it tells you how to post. But I've already created the link here. And so I'm going to open my Padlet board, which is going to be where I'm going to be able to share some posts. So here's an example of something that I've already done. So hi everyone, these are some types of examples of each type of sentence. So I've given them a declarative. I'm happy to be your English teacher this year. Imperative. Give me that marker. Exclamatory. This is going to be so much fun. And interrogative. What are you most looking forward to this year? So this is a really cool tool to share with students. It's interactive, so whenever anybody else posts, I've actually allowed them to be able to comment on them. And then also we can grade each other's work, which is really cool, which is actually the follow-up work. So if we go back to our lesson plan, it says, set the timer to 10 minutes. So they have 10 minutes to create 4 sentences. That's more than enough time. It also gives them some time to talk with their partners and really come up with some great sentences. Because after it, we're going to encourage each pair of students to review the sentences on the Padlet board, or their peer sentences, and rate each other's results using that star system that we looked at. As a class, we then review the sentences that are most highly rated, and that way we make sure that we are kind of assessing the results of that Padlet. Then we're going to move on to independent work. So on our independent work, we are going to ask our students to complete a worksheet, and this is all online. It can either be printed out or using a digital file, and this is kind of just review work. So this is the write a sentence worksheet, okay? And they're going to use the imagery to the left to write a sentence using the correct punctuation. So if you look at the example, it says write a declarative sentence. The princess's braid is very long. So let's look at the next one. It's got a pair of shoes and a very high price tag. I don't think I would pay that much. So let's write an exclamatory sentence. So on a PDF file, they can either fill it in or, like I said, with a paper and pencil. Okay? So those shoes are expensive would be a great example. Let's look at the interrogative sentence. It's got some trees. We could say, what season do the trees reflect? Okay, declarative. She got a diamond ring, you know? So there's all sorts of examples that they can create, okay? All right, moving on, we're gonna go back to our lesson plan. And then they're going to, so you can see there's the PDF link to that file. And like I said, I would have some printed copies out for those students who would like to use pencil and paper. Then we have an assessment, which is really, really fun. And this is one of my greatest tools, especially with lower level, although I have to admit that seniors and freshmen in high school love to play Kahoot, and even university students. So this is a sentence types quiz on Kahoot. And I already have it opened up, I think. Oh no, I don't. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna open up this link, okay? And, oh no, I opened up the how-to. Sorry, here's our quiz. So I created this quiz, right? And it's about types of sentences. And I want to play. So this is really cool because you can either do a team mode or you can do it classic, you know? So students can choose, and they have game options. And let's do classic. Okay, so then everybody has different tablets or whatever, and so then you can push start and you start playing. Okay, and so everybody joins up. As you can tell, they're waiting for players, and so there would have to be several of these. And this is a sort of assessment. We can use teams, or it can be individual, and then we get results towards the end. So that's a really great tool. So let's go back to our lesson plan. Then finally, homework, which is kind of just evaluating the use of another tool and also assessing their ability to identify the sentences, is using Go Conquer to create flashcards. So if we go to Go Conquer, students can actually, this is all of course written form, but like I said, I think it's a foundation towards being able to pronounce certain pronounce sentences correctly. So I'm going to sign in. Let's just open. Okay. Okay, so password. And we can create. See? So we're going to do some flashcards. And this is really great because they could create a interrogative. They're going to make 24. And then they would say, what's your favorite color? See, and they can include imagery if they would like. You know, and we could just add that one if we want to say what kind of colors do you have, right? So there's a lot of fun things to do with these flashcards. So like I said, this is a great lesson plan, and based on this, then we would move on to pronunciation at a later time. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was benefits or advantages behind this is because first, students are attracted to technology. Second of all, I do think that it needs to be scaffolded or folded into lesson plans that don't include 100% of technology. I'm not a strong believer in that. And I do believe that there are tons of tools that will allow students to listen to their pronunciation correctly. There are tools to record themselves online and they can listen to them themselves. There are tons of games to play